You're listening to the Otasso Outdoors Podcast.
Do. Reed's gonna be so jealous that he missed that.
That doesn't happen very often.
Not very often. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Otasso Outdoors Podcast. I'm Caleb. I'm your host, and I am joined by my co-host, Hunter Grishke.
Howdy.
If you're tuning in for the first time, we have a few different segments to the show. Segment number one.
Segment number one is What You Got, Buddy? And What You Got, Buddy is where we all bring articles, talk about them, learn about some awesome information, and talk about it with each other.
Segment number two is our Spotlight series. That's where we dig into our Rolodex of really cool, kick-ass people that we meet, and we bring them on and let them talk about who they are, what they're passionate about, and it's a freaking blast. And then segment number three.
Segment number three is our head-to-head series, where it's a game show style. We answer questions, see who knows more, and we crown a winner at the end.
We got to do one of those soon.
We do.
Guys, today is neither of the three. Today is going to be like we'll do a mini Spotlight series because you guys have already met him. So you clicked on it, you know what it is. Back in the PodBunker for the second time, we have Mr. Dan Expedition Detroit Cooke.
Prost.
Before we dive in, though, we're going to do our weekly merch check. We have the Buckman sweatshirts.
So crispy.
I just noticed that you're wearing that. That is awesome.
They're pretty cool.
Buckman and Duckman available at AtassoOutfitters.com. Then we have the classic blaze orange snapback with the embroidered logo. And that's it for this week's merch check. Now, focusing back on Mr. Dan Cooke, who is in the house.
Yes,
Welcome
sir.
back. Thanks for joining us.
I have been itching to get back here since May. This place is one of the coolest man caves / professional offices I've ever been in my entire life. And no, I mean, literally everything you could hope for in an outdoor outfitter professional setting is right here. So it's good to be back.
I will preface, if you're listening to this and you don't know who this guy is, you need to stop the episode right now and go back to the Spotlight series we did with him. It's about 3 hours, so buckle up. You might have to break it down over different segments, but he talks all about Expedition Detroit and what they're doing and the goals and where we're going and just everything. So give us the spark notes again of what Expedition Detroit is, what you do.
Yeah.
And then we'll dive into kind of what our goal is with this evening.
Yeah, Expedition Detroit is at our core a media company, but with many different facets of what we do. The goal of the company is to put the entirety of Detroit's outdoor recreation industry under one roof. So if you're someone who's interested in hunting and backpacking, kayaking, skiing, mountain biking, any combination of the above, whether you're used to going out west or up north, recreating there, but you live in the Detroit area, or you're from the Southeast Michigan, you're from the Detroit area, and you've always had an interest in any of those pursuits, but you've never really known, how to get involved and how to get into the industry, then Expedition Detroit is your one-stop shop. You can learn about the trails and the other outdoor destinations that are all within an hour's drive of downtown Detroit. You can actually experience them with our guided hikes, our guided backpacking, and our guided trail running, which is more like coaching. All of those services launched in between the last time I was here and now. You can outfit yourself for any of those pursuits, either with our own online store, where all of our clothes are geared towards getting you out in the woods and being able to stay longer, or through any of our partners like Patagonia, Cabela's, Black Diamond, even more nuanced small businesses like Motor City Axe.
I saw that. Those are sweet.
Dude, they're amazing. I mean, they're super useful, and they're also like artwork. Excuse me. They're great for, gifting, especially with the holidays coming up.
ExpeditionDetroit.com.
Yeah, not so humble plug. There's so you can get the right gear for getting outdoors. You can also connect with advocacy organizations that are making a huge impact. Our largest partner is the Michigan Department of Natural Resources. They license us to lead the guided hikes in 11 state parks. Also, if you click through their affiliate link, 10% of any revenue from our store goes to support our state parks, recreation areas, trails,
Awesome.
waterways.
That's awesome.
That's
Yeah.
great.
It's the only 3-letter agency that we like.
Exactly. Yeah, me too. It's fun now. I've got a DNR light commercial operator sticker now on my.
Oh, that's
Nice.
awesome.
yeah. So whenever I'm
Nice.
pulling in, they just wave me on through it.
You're the man.
You feel superior.
Absolutely.
You truly do. But no, really, the goal is if Expedition Detroit is successful, really the high level goal is to change the culture of Southeast Michigan's outdoors from a very organic, authentic perspective, where when people think of Detroit 5-10 years from now, they think of it as a gateway to world-class outdoor destinations and outdoor experiences. So if someone's traveling to Detroit for the first time, they could say, oh, you're going to Detroit. Are you, going downtown? Are you catching a game? Are you doing whatever? Are you going for a hike? Are you going hunting? Are you, doing a multi-day backpacking trip or a canoe camping trip?
It's never been thought of before,
No.
which is just incredible.
Exactly. So the idea is to change the identity of our region in a small way to really prioritize, an outdoor lifestyle, getting outdoors, and really towards conservation.
It's freaking
I love
awesome.
that.
Yeah.
That's great.
So that is the Expedition Detroit elevator pitch.
Okay, so since starting, I know we had you on, we did this whole spotlight series, and you went into just the ins and the outs and the nitty gritty.
Yeah.
I am convinced that this man right here is going to single-handedly revolutionize the suburban lifestyle in Detroit because, especially with COVID, I don't know, it trained people to want to sit around.
Be
Yeah.
lazy.
Like
Stay inside.
everything that we're inundated, we've talked about this. Everything
Yeah.
that we're inundated with constantly, the speed of information,
Yeah.
the constant scrolling, the technology. It is very rare that people want to get unplugged.
Yeah. They're uncomfortable with it. And really, that's why I think hunting, especially conventional deer hunting, when you're sitting in a stand and you're waiting for hours and hours and hours. I mean, how many times, I'm guilty of this, where you're in the stand, you're dialed in for, yeah. You already know where I'm going. I
I'm
haven't
probably
even
going to
finished
say
it.
yes also.
You're
so.
dialed in for an hour or so, you're locked in, and then all of a sudden you're like, I'm not seeing anything. I'm gonna pull out the phone. You're scrolling a little bit.
Yep.
You pick your head up, and you're sighted by a buck. It's staring right at you.
Yep.
And you're bow hunting too.
Yep.
So you're just like, damn it. It's happened to everyone.
Absolutely.
And so I have people reach out to me a lot, like, oh man, I would love to come out to your spot to come, hunting. Looks like you've had a lot of success. We got 2 more bucks off the property
Let's go.
this season.
Nice.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah, pretty excited. And I didn't get to get a shot off, but I saw the biggest buck that I've ever seen in the field. It's probably 80 yards behind me, November 2nd or 3rd, right when the rut was
Right when the
taking
rut
off.
was kicking off.
So
yeah.
seeing that, and I didn't tell you this last time, May 2022, bought some land near Milford.
Oh, nice.
So been gradually introducing some of my buddies into hunting, in kind of a controlled, smaller
I love that.
environment. And it's been fun. We've been having success and a lot of fun.
Great.
But
awesome.
no, so people see that, they see that I'm out there, and whether through Expedition Detroit or even my personal channels, and they're like, "Oh, I want to come out." And I always have to kind of preface them or warn them, like, dude, this isn't skiing where you rip down a hill and it's just this isn't mountain biking. Like,
It's
this is
different.
hunting. You will spend a lot of time alone by yourself, in the woods,
Yep.
you and your thoughts, and you're going to want to tap into your phone and go with that disconnection and be entertained. And the moment you do that, that's inevitably when a deer will pop up every single time.
Every time. Phone trick.
I feel like it's honestly between hiking, Mostly hiking and hunting. Those I feel like are the two categories of things where you still have the ability to unplug and really not be connected.
Absolutely.
Unless you're ripping down a mountain at 30 miles an hour. It's a little hard to be scrolling on TikTok.
I would say even more so solo hiking, like a multi-day
I believe it.
solo backpacking trip. You're on the trail by yourself for hours and hours and hours, and it's just you and your thoughts.
There's something to be said about that.
Yeah.
People don't think critically anymore.
No, I couldn't agree more.
They don't, and and there's something to be said about getting outside. And Andrew Huberman talks about it all the time. Getting that sunlight in your eyes and just being outdoors in the fresh air, it changes everything. It changes how you think. It improves your mood.
It improves everything.
Everything. Your overall like mental health.
Yeah.
I think the reason our country has a mental health problem is because just everybody is harnessed to this.
Well, we're all addicted.
Yep.
That's I mean, if you look at like YouTube now with their shorts, or really Instagram too, but any of them, any of that sliding motion like that, it's the same damn thing as pulling the crankshaft at a slot machine.
Yep.
And because you get that dopamine hit from anticipation, so everyone's hooked, and it drains your creativity. It drains your critical thinking. It's a drug. That's literally what it is.
There were two fat things that I heard recently that blew my mind. Is they said the average attention span of a goldfish is 8 seconds, and now or 6. It was 6 seconds, and the average attention span of the human is 8 seconds now.
That's pretty embarrassing,
which is
man.
scary.
That's also
scary.
why the algorithm on Instagram, which by the way, your guys' content lately has been very entertaining.
Let's go.
Your fashion. We're your most expensive clothes. I did like that.
That was a good one.
Yeah, that was great. But I guess the algorithm like pumps reels that are like 7 seconds max for that exact reason.
I don't like it.
I hate it. It stifles creativity.
It does.
Yeah.
Even with Expedition Detroit, I've had a lot of people reach out to me like, "Oh, do you have Chat GPT writing your articles?" I'm like, "Hell no." Because I don't want that part of my brain to become
you want to stretch yourself.
Mush.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you don't use it, you lose it. Like the brain is a muscle, and from creativity is more so just from artistic expression. It's how you approach an outdoor. Yeah, how can you be a good deer hunter if or really any sort of outdoor recreationist if you get bored quickly?
Right.
If you can't zero in. I mean, even skiing, like how can you pick a good line, especially when you're going through like thick backcountry terrain, especially in Michigan, where you can find good lines at Highland Recreation area. I was scouting Hines Park in Northville the other day.
No way. You can find enough elevation to just hike back in.
In fact.
No way. That's awesome.
Hines, right at 7 Mile and Hines Drive in Northville, that in the 20s was an Olympic graded ski jump.
What?
That was built right there. There's a little plaque if you get into the thick of it and get up on the hill. It's steep. It drops off. So, but if you don't have the, and really it comes down to discipline. If you don't have the discipline to, be resilient and, whether that's, staying focused in on the hunt or, taking on a, multi-day backpacking or any sort of outdoor endeavor, you're just not going to do it. That's why people get addicted to all of those, mindless entertainment, because they don't have the
discipline is huge. That's the backbone of it. Speaking of discipline, I've noticed you've been doing ice baths. Tell us about that journey, because this is a topic that has been intriguing to me for a long time, and then we'll pivot into some more Expedition Detroit.
Yeah. So I don't know when this will air, but when it airs, one of my best friends will listen to it, and I have so many people reach out and say to me, "Oh, Dan, you're doing ice baths. You're the ice bath guy." And it was my buddy, Dr. Nicholas Sterla, who first reached out and was like, "Oh, mate, we got to start doing ice baths." So, Sterla, there's your plug. Love you.
How much did it suck the first time?
Well, here's the funny thing. So we started talking about it in maybe June or July. He sent me some reel and he was like, "Dude, we got to start doing ice baths." Like, apparently they're amazing for you. The health benefits are incredible. We got to start doing it. So I'm like, okay. So we ran to a BP near my folks' place because I had this little inflatable like pool that some company sent me. I was like, okay, whatever.
That's awesome.
So we filled it up with like 6 bags, like the big bags of ice from BP. We got in, and maybe the temp was like 55. But the thing is with ice baths, as long as it's under 60 degrees, you will reap the like noticeable benefits, like health benefits from it.
So if you're in a cold shower, does it have the same effect or not because you're not immersed?
I don't think it has the same effect. I think it has a different effect because when you're in ice baths, you're not always. It's not like you're getting your head underwater the whole time.
Right.
But I don't think a cold shower, unless you're in there for 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes, will have the same like shock therapy and just cold water immersion as an ice bath would. But yeah, when we started, it was the middle of summer, and we were getting in, and the water was maybe 55, 58. It feels like it's negative 1,000. The first time you get in, and you're
just burning.
Yeah, you're shivering, and it's cold as hell. And we'd pop out, and fortunately, like the sun would be hitting us, which is 85 degrees in July, and we'd have the hot tub right there, so we'd jump in. But we started joking in July, like, what if we keep doing this into the winter? Like, we just keep going, when it's all of a sudden like the 20s. And
then you don't have to get ice from BP
No, you
anymore.
do
Then
not,
you go
you do
out with
not.
your Detroit X company hatchet and just bust a layer and climb on in.
So he bought one of those like Instagram, tubs, and he brought it over to, my folks' place where I'm at right now while I'm building a house. Hashtag 30-year-old in the basement. But I wear it proudly. So I've had this tub for a while, so I've just kept doing it. Like, and he's a physician, so he's really busy at the hospital. I'm a now self-employed, entrepreneur and lawyer. So I get to do it. Like, if I start getting that midday, like, at my desk or whatever, kind of 9 off, I'm
Zap.
like, I'm going to go jump in the ice bath. So I've just kept doing it, as it's gotten colder and colder, in the water temp, kind of gradually, because again, as it's getting colder, you don't have to keep putting ice in it. And when you get in, it's kind of like, at first it kind of hovered at 55 and got to 50, 45. The coldest it's ever read is 28 degrees, which I think is just because it's right on the surface. But and it's amazing when you first get in, when it's that cold, the first time, like your fingers are what you feel, it's all the, your extremities. But for me, my fingertips were just burning and hurting. And I stayed in for maybe 2 minutes. And then you pop out and you're like, ugh. But now, and I was just in Cuba. So now my predisposition to freezing temperatures is totally screwed.
Everything's messed
thanks
up.
to Havana.
10 times
But
worse.
but no, I mean, the last time I got in, which was the day before I left, I stayed in for 4.5 minutes in 32 degree water.
Isn't that 4 minutes kind of that sweet spot where you in order to reap the full health benefits of it?
It's actually more. It's 11 minutes over a week.
Interesting.
So
wow.
yeah,
Interesting.
because especially when it's that cold, it's really hard. I mean, even when it was 55, 58 degrees, I couldn't stay in for more than 5 minutes. If you were staying in longer than that, then the water temp had probably warmed up to the point where you really aren't reaping the benefits. And for anyone who doesn't know, the benefits are largely it's brown fat, which increases your metabolic burn rate. So from a physical perspective, I mean, I lost 5 pounds easy of just fat, just by doing ice baths consistently.
Incredible.
Because your metabolism heats up
wild.
and it's going. But even more so, it's and this kind of goes back to discipline and probably why you looped in the ice baths. It's building that mental fortitude of normalizing doing hard things. Because it doesn't matter. Like, every single time I get in, I always have to psych myself up. Every single time. It's never fun. It's never like, yes, this is going to be relaxing. You get in, and especially when the camera's rolling, like, I kind of get like an adrenaline rush at first, like, okay, here we go. Like, I'm doing this. And then you get in and you're like, and I'm still here.
Well, why did I do this?
Like, it's not like it's done. Now it's okay. It begins now. And that's something that, for Expedition Detroit's winter content as a whole is kind of the theme that I want to move the platform towards. Because, I mean, even today, I had a meeting with Visit Detroit, which is, other than Pure Michigan, probably the largest tourism agency.
No kidding. That's
platform.
awesome.
Yeah, we're going to become their featured outdoor partner. So when they
nice.
So this is your first full winter season, like really ramped up, really, for the most part?
Yeah. Well, last year we were ramping up because the website went live in October of 2022.
Okay.
But we experienced a huge amount of growth in the winter, and it's because everyone leaves, like, for the most part. The competition goes down to nothing in the outdoor space.
You're telling me there's more things to do outside once the snow flies?
That I am. There's
Listen up. You heard it here first.
Now,
get your ass off the
Get
couch.
out in the winter.
I mean, here's the thing. Even for the hunting community in Metro Detroit, bow season continues until January 31st.
Oh, don't we know it?
Yeah.
We go till the bitter end.
Yeah. And so, I mean, even if if hunting is your bread and butter, you can do that through, half the winter in Metro Detroit.
You know what's a lot of fun too? That we love. It's kind of like end of winter, but once late March, early April rolls around,
Yeah.
we love shed hunting.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's a freaking blast. It's an
Yeah.
adult scavenger hunt.
It really is. Yeah. No, I'm with you. Absolutely. I'm really excited to shed hunt more on my property. And even just around, any state park.
Parks. We do it all around here.
Yeah.
We go to all the parks.
Yeah. You complement your hike with a shed hunt, and it's awesome.
It's fun.
And I don't think there are the restrictions in state parks that there are in national parks where you can't keep it. I think you find it, it's yours.
If it's a shed.
If it's a shed.
If the antlers are still attached to a skull, you have to get a salvage tag.
Yeah.
Really?
Or a deadhead, you have to get a tag for it.
No way.
Yep.
And it's very easy. We've done it 3 times this year with roadkill. You go online to the DNR's website, you fill it out, put the location where it was at. It's free.
Yeah.
Doesn't cost you anything, and then you just keep a copy of it and it's yours.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go into a little bit more
of
the winter outdoors activities that we can expect.
So, I mean, there's when it comes to winter recreation, there's kind of the conventional and the unconventional. And at Expedition Detroit, we really try and straddle both, and whenever possible, give an edge to the unconventional. So the conventional is, you're skiing, you're snowboarding. The Big Four resorts, which we named them, and in one of our articles last year, that was one of our first big pieces of the winter.
The Big Four in Michigan?
Big Four in Detroit. Detroit's Big Four ski resorts, which are
Mount Holly.
Let's see
if I can get them.
Yeah,
okay.
Let's start the trivia.
Mount Holly, Alpine Valley,
See?
Mount Brighton,
And almost. You know it.
There's a fourth, and I've lost. It's Pine Knob.
Well done.
Let's go. Your
impressive,
boy
man.
knows his winter outdoor skiing trivia.
Nice.
So those are the Big Four. 3 of those, you can actually buy a season pass for them. And then also kind of smaller resorts around the Midwest. That's Alpine, Holly, and Pine Knob.
I'm very partial to Mount Holly.
Mount Holly's great.
It's the best if you are within an hour of Detroit, or even if it's within an hour of Lansing, where we're at.
Yeah.
A weeknight night skiing, $40. You can ski from 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. It's incredible.
Yeah, and they've got that one run. I think it's the highest point in the mountain, and it's pretty steep, actually. You get some good decline.
The one that goes on the far right-hand side?
If you're looking down the mountain, yes. Far right. And then it empties out to trees, too. So you can get a little tree run in there, too.
Yep.
Alpine's great, too. Alpine's got some good stuff. Brighton is the most exposed and also the most commercial.
I'm gonna give it a big thumbs down. I grew up on Mount Brighton. I just
their own Boyne bought them.
No,
or was it Vail?
It's Vail bottom. Yeah,
Vail needs to bring a bunch of dirt in and make it bigger.
They do. And what's funny, it's actually the highest point in the entire Detroit region.
No kidding.
But it's all manufactured. I think Pine Knob might be the highest natural point. Because we talked about the mountains the last time I was here, and kind of that ridge that goes across from southwest to northeast.
Right.
The Jackson Interlope
Yep.
range.
Yep. I remember we
That's
talked about that.
The technical term. It took so long to figure out what the hell it was called. It's like 2 hours of research. Just like there are hills in Detroit. They're tall. They're uniform. What the hell are they called? But we found them. But no. So, if you want to, especially if you're a newer skier and you're looking for more of a conventional experience, like any of those four work. They've all got their pros and cons. Pine Knob actually was the only one that I wasn't able to get to last winter. So this December, probably before my new skis, will probably be the last run for the 2008 K2 Apaches.
There we go.
We'll be at Pine Knob, just a little fun run. There will be a reel on it at some point. But other than that, I mean, especially if you're more of like a backcountry skier, you can go hiking or snowshoeing with your skis strapped on your backpack in almost any of the state parks along that, interlobate range, especially Highland. The farther northeast you go, the higher the hills get. So like Metamora, trying to think of Bald Mountain, kind of out that way. You can find some pretty steep drop-offs. And yeah, they're not going to be 20-minute run or even a 5-minute run like you'll get at a hill. They're going to be 3-4 minute. But if you got a GoPro on you and it's a great powder day, I mean, talk about a way to really kind of stand out. Like especially if you're that kind of outdoor athlete and you're living here and you want to stand out from the pack, you can find some amazing runs. And everyone's like, oh, where are you? Are you like in the UP? Are you? No, I'm in Highland.
That's exactly why what you're doing is so important, because you're giving people that opportunity to not have to travel 3 hours to Boyne Mountain or any of those spots. You're saying, hey, guys, this is 25 minutes from your door.
Yeah. And even more so, and this is, partially why I've been meeting with, Visit Detroit and another organization called Let's Detroit, which is affiliated with the Detroit Chamber of Commerce. We wrote an article a few weeks ago that blew up on LinkedIn, which is always fun when that happens.
The boomers are getting fired up.
Oh, dude, they love it. They absolutely love it. It was called Detroit is Losing Its Young Professionals. Our Outdoors Can Win Them Back.
Whoa, that's sweet.
And what it's focused on is a theme that really, everything from the every agency from the governor down in Michigan is focused on, because by 2050, Michigan is expected to continue, and especially the Detroit area, to lose its population consistently. And
even with all the rehab and everything they're doing.
Yes.
So it's on that trajectory.
It's still on that trajectory, which is a huge problem.
Just because of the reputation it's had over the years? What's the reasoning behind that?
It's not as much Detroit's reputation. It's more so the reputation of other places where, young professionals, when they're thinking about launching their career, especially
Grand Rapids, Chicago,
LA, Nashville, Seattle, Austin. I mean, the cities off the top of your head.
Absolutely.
And what's funny is from all reputable sources, those cities suck.
Yeah.
For the most part,
because they've been attracting that kind of person that's like, oh, I want to go where everyone else is going. So especially, younger millennial and older Gen Z workers. But they're going to those places for a reason, because it's seen as a place where you can not only have an interesting dynamic career, but you can also live a life. And there are a lot of trendy, bars, there are parks, there are green spaces. And studies are showing that especially the green spaces, the trails, the connections, the accessibility to the outdoors, which is why a lot of young professionals have moved to Denver or moved to, Fort Collins or Salt Lake City too, is because they want to be able to, especially if you're a skier, like for that kind of person, they want to be able to get out of work and within an hour be on a chairlift.
I believe it.
They're painting that. But, not everyone's a skier. So even more so, they want to be able to get out of work, or they want to be able to bike to work in a scenic environment. They want to be able to go kayaking on the weekends. They want to be able to feel like, they can have a fulfilling work life and then an adventuresome personal life. And in that regard, Detroit especially is so primed for that. Not only because of everything that already exists, all these, state recreation areas where people can hunt, where they can camp, where they can backpack, where they can go kayaking. But even within Detroit proper, you've got it's a city built for 2 million people. There's 600,000 living there. And most of that concentration with all the rehabilitation that you were just talking about is in really concentrated areas. So you still have large sections of the city with blighted houses that are going to be knocked down, and you have all this. And nature is already reclaiming the city in a lot of ways. So you've got these green spaces that already exist de facto because everyone's left. Why not take them and turn them into, state-of-the-art parks, green spaces? I mean, you go over the border, you look at what Ojibwe National Urban Park in Windsor. They've taken a few. They're right in the heart, basically just outside the heart of Windsor. It's now a national park.
I didn't even think about that. Like, I know there's not much topography, but think about all those neighborhoods.
Yeah.
That are just fields. Like, why can't you go through and plant trees and turn them into parks?
You could turn them into anything. And what's amazing, nature is undefeated. It's already doing that.
Yeah.
So for us, it's more of like just to take it, shape it, protect it.
Sculpt it.
But you only do that if people prioritize that. So our advocate, why we wrote the article is just saying, hey, like this is an opportunity. And not only is it an opportunity, it's a necessity. Because when you lose population, other than bragging rights, you lose congressional seats, you lose representation, you lose tax revenue, you lose, sustainable businesses, you lose your work. I mean,
it's detrimental.
You go down the whole laundry list, and especially now, post COVID, anyone who experienced the outdoors in a material way during COVID knows how life-changing the outdoors are. And how you can not only build a life around it, you can build a business around it. You can build a future around it from both a personal and a ecological perspective.
I think a big disconnect too with the whole outdoors aspect is there's so many people that don't look at all the possibilities. They compartmentalize it and they have blinders. So they look at it from the perspective of, oh well, I'm not a hiker, so I can't go hiking, or I don't like biking. I can't mountain bike, or I don't ski. But it's like, what do you like? Oh, you like cooking. Okay, go to these parks and you can forage.
Yeah.
Go find mushrooms.
Yeah.
Go find, if you want to cook with wild plants. Like, there's so many different avenues people can go, even if you're just the kind of person that likes geocaching.
Yeah.
I mean, it can be anything. Just get outside.
It's almost like for most of human existence, we lived in the woods,
I mean,
you sure about that?
And there's a way that maybe no matter what you're interested in, you could re-tap into that primal existence that we all at one point unanimously shared. No, I agree. I mean, the outdoors is so much more than just like, oh, this is fun. Like, it can be, to your point, it can be whatever you want it to be. It can be a source. I mean, look at the three of us in this room. Like, when I eat red meat now, like predominantly, I would say probably 90% of the time it's venison from the deer that I shot. I mean, because you get, if you're lucky enough to get a deer, it's cleaner, it's more organic. I mean, I think we ripped into the big beef industry the last time I was here.
It's tough. I mean, right now, like we've talked about it. Yeah. You shoot a good sized deer, and it'll cost you $120, $130 to process it. So if you get 70 pounds of meat, you're averaging $2-3 a pound, maybe on the high end.
Yeah. Yep.
Like a good lean, organic, grass-fed beef right now is $6-7 a pound.
Jeez.
Which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
No. And that's clean meat, but it's a clean meat substitute that I mean, there's not a whole lot to be said for our urban deer around here. You never know what they're getting into, all the Roundup and all of that jazz. But for the most part, like we talked about this the other day, you feel better.
Oh, absolutely.
I notice a difference when I eat.
No, I heard that soundbite on your in one of your social media posts. No, you 100% do. I mean, venison it's so lean too. Like you just feel great. Like I've eaten venison and been running like 20 minutes later because you're just like you're good. Yeah, you're fired up. No, it's yeah, and it's just a more sustainable practice as a whole, especially with the DNR just pleading for especially southern Michigan hunters to get out in the woods and help for the love of God, with the exploding deer population. That was another article we wrote lately. It's called Hunting Hard Knocks, the necessity of hunting, which in this room is preaching to the choir, but for a lot of our audience, especially who came in during the summer when we were pumping a lot of backpacking content, all of a sudden they see a hunting article and they're kind of like, yo, what the hell? Where did this come from? And the argument we're making is in that article is that, hunting is important for, litany of reasons, but mostly because we screwed up the ecosystem.
Right.
And we made it perfect for a white-tailed deer population to flourish in a suburban environment. And therefore, because we screwed it up, we have a responsibility
to maintain it.
To enter back into that.
And if we don't, the park that you're enjoying hiking in is going to be completely decimated.
Oh yeah. The effect that deer have on just forest regeneration is abysmal.
It's crazy.
You get one of those massive. I remember one time I was hiking in Northville at a new legacy park. It hasn't officially opened yet, but they've got some trails. And I was kind of exploring the area because I grew up there. I was like, I've never been back here before. I wonder if I cross the creek and head this way, what old structure? It's where the old psychiatric hospital used to be.
Oh,
yeah.
Did they doze that?
They exploded it.
Did they? I used to watch YouTube videos of guys going and exploring that.
Yeah, horrifying.
Super spooky.
Yeah, horrifying.
Super spooky.
They blew it up. It's gone.
Good.
And they're creating a new park there.
That was like 300-400 acres, isn't it, or more?
That sounds about right.
It was a lot. It was a lot of land.
Yeah, that's big.
400 acres sounds about right. I think they're trying to figure out a way to connect it to Hines Drive too, which is really awesome because Hines also there's kind of an urban trail that goes through downtown Northville that connects it to Mayberry.
Cool.
So there could be lots of Northville Park connections. But anyways, I was kind of exploring the area like, I wonder what else is around here, what, remnants from old buildings. And I remember going over a creek, kind of following this trail and turning into this old field. And I kid you not, there's at least 50, maybe 75, 100 deer. Some of the biggest bucks I've ever seen. And they're all looking at me like, yeah.
Just
right
need one
there.
of these.
Yeah.
Frag out.
Yeah. For our listening only audience, Caleb just handed me a grenade.
It has been decommissioned. Please don't come to our bunker.
Yeah.
It is not live.
Not live.
Not live. That would be weird. No, and they all looked at me like, "What are you doing here?" Like they were not fazed at all. Like they knew they had strength in numbers, and they were like, "We are a nation. What could you possibly do to us?" And I kind of tipped my hat and got the hell out of there. And that was just one little pocket of Northville where there's just, I mean, I kid you not, I try not to over exaggerate. I've never seen that many deer in a concentrated place before.
I don't remember if we talked about this in the Spotlight series. Is there any, at least from your knowledge, is there any management programs for civilians and taxpayers to be able to be involved? Kind of like our township here, we have a bow hunting program. There's 80 bow hunters, or is it all like, hey, the city of Northville is going to pay to bring sharpshooters in, and we're going to cull 350 deer?
So I spoke with the head of Mayberry State Park about that exact point, and I guess they brought in sharpshooters in the past, but there was enough of a backlash that they haven't even done that anymore.
That's where I feel like those bow hunting programs are they're a little bit less abrasive for most people because you've got bow hunting. It seems more tame. There's no firearms, no silencers. You're not baiting deer. It's ethical.
Yeah.
But also you have to be proficient. So there's the mindset. They're like, wow, these guys know what they're doing.
Yeah.
It's way more ethical. The deer's dying better. And then if you go to the third aspect of meat being donated to whatever it may be, homeless shelters, food pantries.
Yeah.
That could change things. We've got guys over in Grand Rapids that we actually just met that are it's a company called Doe Patrol, and all they do is they focus on killing doe, and they donate it to local ministries, and they do thousands of pounds of meat every year.
Yeah, no, that's phenomenal. But no, to my knowledge, there's nothing like that in the Detroit area.
That's where we need.
That's what we need.
We need need to partner somehow, and we need to get Doe Patrol to expand, where it's Doe Patrol West Michigan, Central Michigan, Metro, Doe.
I think even the DNR could get more involved there. I mean, the DNR Outdoor Adventure Center, which is right off of the riverfront in downtown Detroit, they lead archery clinics all the time. They lead like youth hunting expos where they bring people into that building to, talk about.
So what are they afraid of? Are they afraid of the backlash?
I don't. Be my guess, but
probably the backlash. I don't even know if from a legal perspective if they have the jurisdiction to be able to overturn, the local anti-hunting ordinances to do so. I mean, in Mayberry, I guess you could, but Mayberry is such a small state park. If people were, you could never gun hunt in Mayberry. There's houses.
It would have to be bow hunting.
It would have to be bow hunting, but I think they could. They're probably afraid of the backlash.
At what point though does it become enough of a problem? Here's like my one argument with all of it, especially like we hunt urban areas, so we interact with people frequently that are very against it. And so my big argument is that deer, when I shoot at whatever it may be, 315 feet per second with a 2-inch cutting pattern with a Schwacker broadhead, that deer is going to feel a small pinch. All of a sudden his blood pressure is going to drop, and he's going to either lay down or he's going to tip over and expire. Hey buddy. Hey. Our co-host has arrived.
There's a little present for you on your seat there.
The mic is rolling. The camera is rolling.
I'm late and I still get a gift. This is phenomenal. What's up, boys?
That's how we do it.
Howdy.
Okay.
Nice beard.
Hey, thanks. It's new.
So I don't know. I don't know if this is offensive, but you kind of look like a what are those two brothers? The Paul brothers. You look like you could be a
Jake
third.
Paul.
You look like you could be a third Paul.
I can
brother.
dig that. Yeah.
Have you heard that
Fit
before?
and rich. I'll take it.
Yeah. Same, but different.
I thought you were about to say like you look like. Well, no, we'll get canceled. Continue.
So
you look good.
So back to what I was saying. So my big argument, especially when the management of deer gets met with resistance, my argument is what we're doing in the management, the bow hunting, that is the best death that animal is going to have.
Oh yeah.
Option one is they're going to get smoked by a Lexus at 50 miles an hour, and they're going to run off and die somewhere, and the meat's going to get wasted, and then our insurance prices are going to go up. Option number two is they're going to get eaten by a predator, whether it's a coyote in those suburban areas, which is awful.
Yeah.
Option number three is they're going to get so old that their teeth are going to rot. Pretty much they're going to wear their teeth down to nothing, which we actually found a buck recently that had hardly any teeth left, and they're not going to be able to eat food, and they're going to starve to death.
Yeah.
So you tell me what's better for the animal. I think people have this weird preconceived notion that animals just die of old age in a hospital bed surrounded by their family and their children, and like the light is coming down, and that's just the reality of it. So go follow Nature is Metal on Instagram.
I was about to say that. I was literally about to say that.
Go follow that, and that will give you a little bit of perspective of how effed up nature can be to these animals.
Dude, it is. I mean, I'm a hunter. I'm pretty desensitized to life and death in the woods. There are some videos on Nature's Metal.
Brutal.
Either the
They're
audio has
gruesome,
to go
man.
off or you just keep scrolling.
The worst one I ever saw was there was a doe walking through the woods and there was like a half-eaten fawn carcass still hanging out of her hind, and that was rough.
I mean, any of just the, animals getting eaten alive, from the, like there was one, it was a Komodo dragon, like chowing down on some like water buffalo in Indonesia.
That is nature.
And that's exactly it. That's nature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, you're a bad human being because you killed it in 30 seconds with a rage trypan.
You took its life too early.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, you killed it
And
young.
it hopped 10 yards away and had no clue what happened before it tipped over.
I had a knockdown this season with a bow.
Really?
Yeah.
Spine?
Upper lung and spine.
Oh.
Yeah. And
nice.
it's just
Here's
dropped.
the question. Did you shoot it again?
Yeah.
Okay. Attaboy.
Yeah. Smart man.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
ethical.
because that's the thing about bow hunting when you get a knockdown like that, like pro,
It's your
no
responsibility.
tracking.
Yeah.
It's there.
Yeah,
like,
it's
you're done.
great, but it's your responsibility to get another arrow in it that fast.
Yeah. No, I as soon as I kind of realized what had happened, it's like, yeah, exactly. And
Drop one.
And at the time, it felt like, oh my gosh, this thing's suffering. Like I'm the worst person ever. I looked at my watch, but after the second arrow, it was like 10 minutes, like tops.
Yeah, you're
For
good.
it being like out cold, no question, it has passed. And after that, just the elation and the, thank God,
Now we got tacos.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so as far as Expedition Detroit goes, let's name like the top 5 winter categories that you're going to focus on.
Yeah. So number one is, I'm going to start from the more generic to the more specific. Number one is just winter recreation as a whole for like your lifestyle. So that's, ice baths, just cold weather.
We talked about ice baths earlier.
I have a great video to show you later
Yeah.
of us like swimming between holes in ice that we cut.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, up on Charlevoix. It was
Oh, that's wild.
Dumb.
Yeah.
Dumb.
A little
Yeah.
bit dumb.
spontaneous moment. Next thing you know, we're out there in our skivvies. We're like, we're doing this. But
I
ice
jumped
baths.
I jumped into a glacial lake in the Tetons.
Oh,
last
that's
summer,
killer.
which was pretty wild. But yeah, no. So I guess number one, just like capitalizing on, the benefits for getting outside when it's freezing, and why that's one of our greatest assets to our natural environment, being in the Detroit area versus migrating south and being a snowbird. So that's number one. Number two is just skiing as a whole. Last year, the focus was more of just getting kind of the skiing and snowboarding ecosystem under one roof. Like, hey, here's what's out there. This year, it's going to be more like, here are the best runs if you're this kind of skier or snowboard, like more aggressive, or best places to learn how to ski.
Those resources are huge.
Yeah, here are the best terrain parks. Here are the best après-ski spots for anyone trying to wet their whistle.
Have you found Shaggy's Copper Country skis yet?
Yes, I have. We spoke. I think we spoke about this
Did we?
last time.
Okay, yeah.
My buddy has the two-hearted skis.
Oh,
Yes, we did talk about
yes.
that.
Yeah.
We
yeah,
did talk about
phenomenal
that.
company. I just saw somebody that had new stickers released, and I saw a truck down here today, so it's fresh.
They've got a shop in
Yeah.
Boyne and halfway between Petoskey and Harbor Springs, right?
Do they really?
Yeah.
I know of the one in Boyne. I didn't know they had a new shop.
I think Shaggy, there's or maybe I'm thinking of something else. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure there's a Shaggy's up by Harbor Springs too, like by Nubs Knob and Boyne Highlands.
I believe that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You said 5, so this will be fun. Number 3, cross-country skiing. That was something I didn't tap into at all last season. We've recently hired a new writer. Her name is Katie.
No way,
She
that's
is
awesome.
She is also a somewhat avid cross-country skier, from what she's told me. I'm going to make her prove it. Get on the
Show
field.
me.
Yeah, she's going to love it when she hears that part. Sorry, Katie. There are some of the best cross-country skiing in the entire Midwest in the Detroit area. So a lot of trails that are some of the best hiking are really more geared towards cross-country skiing.
I believe it.
In the winter, especially where you get some of the elevation changes, but they're not so crazy. Because, I guess cross-country skiing is viewed as like the best aerobic workout you can get.
It's like an elliptical on the ground,
pretty much.
Did you ever see the old Nordic tracks that they used to make, where it was like cross country?
We had
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
We had one in our house.
B-Rob had one, dude.
There's
Thing was
actually
crazy.
I think it's Hudson Mills Metro Park has like an Olympic graded cross country skiing trail that they use for races. The only other ones in Michigan are all up north or in the UP.
You know what the best part of cross country skiing is?
Tell me.
The part where you go downhill.
Yeah.
Do you know what's better than cross country skiing?
Skiing?
Downhill skiing.
So if you're
Yes.
missing out, if you like cross country skiing,
Yeah.
you're missing out.
I told you I'm going from generic to specific. 100%. Number 4 is really our guided services. We're going to be launching guided snowshoeing treks where people are actually going to be able to rent snowshoes. Yes, Caleb?
Did you? I know. Just backing up real quickly.
Yeah.
Did you offer? I know when we were on before, we talked about guiding services. Did you offer guiding services throughout the summer and the fall?
Yes.
Did it work out pretty well?
Especially in the summer, absolutely.
That's awesome. That's
and
huge.
then I went on vacation for 3 weeks. And the momentum got lost a little bit.
So you're just pivoting that from
Yeah.
summer months to winter months.
Yeah.
Same kind of trails, just with snowshoes.
Well, so there's really two kind of let's call them off-season guided services that we're really going to be pushing. One is snowshoes, which are going to be very obviously conditions dependent, because even if you get a couple inches of snow on the ground, you still don't want to do snowshoeing. You want 6 inches or more for snowshoes really to be more effective than hiking boots. So for most of the winter, just our regular hikes are still up and running. We haven't stopped offering them at all because the conditions, unless we get absolutely dumped on, the conditions are still going to be fine for hiking.
Even the trails get packed down too. Do you just wear boots with like the gaiters on the bottom, like the traction?
I mean, for me personally, my most boots are waterproof, like the Gore-Tex.
No, what I'm talking about is I see a lot of people. They're like the rubber bands that have like the metal traction things on the bottom. I don't know what those are called.
Yeah, they're called. They're just spikes.
Okay.
And
traction spikes.
Yeah, exactly. Those are you see them more in the mountains than you would around here. Or let's say this: if you trail run or you hike mostly on Detroit's Black Diamond rated trails, which are really mountain bike trails that get a lot of rocks, a lot of really steep incline and declines, can get really slick because you'll have the fat tire bikes going out there and really packing it down. That's where you'd want to use spikes. Other than that, as long as your boots have some traction and it's not slick, you can really get away with just your normal hiking boots. Spikes aren't going to do anything in deep powder. Like that's really when like it's really slick and it's what I'm talking about when the snow gets really packed down where your feet just
It's almost ice for the most part.
pretty much.
Yeah.
It's like slicker ice.
It's my biggest
essentially.
pet peeve when someone drives out of the driveway without shoveling in the
Yeah.
winter, and it gets like
Yes.
layer,
Exactly.
and then you just have tracks.
Yes.
I hate that.
Yes. So tracks snow conditions. That's where you want spikes. If the entire trail is going to be like that, or you anticipate it being like that. If it's just a regular trail, if it's a steep trail, even if it's not like that, then I would still say spikes would be efficient.
Okay.
Have you seen the boots that have the flip out spikes in the bottom?
No.
I don't know if I'm a fan of them because, let's see, I'm a little bit younger than you, but you remember when Heelys came out when you were a kid? And like the original, like the OG Heelys, the good ones,
Yeah.
you had to like pop the thing out with the tool. I'm talking about like the original Heelys, you had to pop out with a tool. It's kind of annoying.
Yes, yeah.
Well, the cool kids that had the off-brand ones had this little button on the side that they'd like click and deploy,
Yeah.
but it was a subpar bearing, so you didn't have as much of the like glide.
Yeah.
Okay.
We got a Healy professional.
I'm ADHD through and through. Heelys were a godsend to me. But when I look at those, like,
you were that kid
oh yeah, dude, insurance
at the
nightmare.
mall with your mom, and you just go you're just like, hey, watch how far I can go.
It was Sam's Club.
Throwing the bows in
Here's
the
what I equated to. I know this is a, like outdoors podcast, but like Heelys in a Sam's Club was basically like not wearing a mask during COVID. Dude, there was
You heard it
signs,
here first, ladies and gentlemen.
there was signs on doors that said absolutely no Heelys, and you'd be sitting there gliding, just looking at the manager like, "Come get me."
Well,
And you're
especially when you kept them deployed, because like you'd have to the kids, you'd kind of do that awkward walk, and
Yeah.
people
Tiptoes.
knew you had them on.
Oh, when I had Heelys on, there was no walking. I learned how to skate on those things. It was great. Anyways,
Bing bong, bing.
It's
bong.
also like, I'm going to stay on the Heelys for a second because now Pandora's box has been opened.
Here we go.
They were also like, you had to be coordinated.
Yeah.
To do it.
Yeah.
I mean, like I had Heelys. I also had the off-brand that had a front and a back wheel.
cheater.
I was a cheater because I was a chubby little kid who wasn't coordinated, and I needed 4 wheels.
Guys, thanks for tuning into the Atasso Outdoors podcast.
See you in the next one.
Yeah. So with the snowshoeing, especially when it dumps, when there's a real big.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait.
I love snowstorms.
Me too. That's when we'll be pushing our guided snowshoe treks hard, and it will be very intense, very quick, because it's like, hey, you've got 72 hours. If you don't do it, it's done. So be looking for that. Another big thing we're doing in the off season, just in general, are like night hike safaris, especially for people who want to see, wildlife. Because the state parks, they're not open dusk till dawn. They're open from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. year round. So it could be
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I thought most parks were dusk till dawn.
The metro parks are like that.
Okay.
Or maybe they close
Or
at
not
like
dusk
8.
till dawn. They're closed from dusk till dawn, right? They're open from dawn till dusk.
Yes.
Sun up to sundown.
That is correct.
That's cool.
The state parks are open 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. And right now, the sun's setting at 4:35.
It's ridiculous.
So we're offering headlamp hikes where you can rent a headlamp from us for $5. We take you around. Right now, they're only in Mayberry. We'll probably broaden that scope. But I have them in Mayberry not only because I know the park extremely well and it's manageable and it's great for a 3-mile post-work headlamp hike, but the deer population and the wildlife population there for such a small park is insane. I mean, you can see the biggest deer I've ever seen in my life have all been in Mayberry right off the trail. So you can see deer, you can see coyotes, you can see, owls, raccoon, like any big animal that you would expect to see, like nocturnal in the Detroit area, you will see in Mayberry.
Do you use
Cougars.
Yes.
Right.
Grizzlies.
Do you use white lights or red lights when you go in your night hikes?
White lights when I'm guiding. For me, if I'm going out to my stand, it's always red light.
When you do your guides, if you want to see more wildlife, red lights are almost invisible on the spectrum to most of the animals that you just recommended. So if you want to see animals up close and better, when we go out hunting for coyotes or coons, we'll always run red light, and you can get right up on them.
Yeah.
And like they just won't. They'll have an idea that you're there, but you're a lot more secluded.
Even if you were to carry like a big spotlight, that's red.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah, I would recommend it.
that's
You'll probably
interesting.
see an increase in like wildlife activity.
Yeah, I think for us, don't disagree with you at all.
Good.
The hard part for us is that, like, did you say good?
Wait, why do I feel like we've had this conversation before?
We talked about red lights a couple weeks ago.
No, there was like a deja vu moment where like you said you should do this and you were just like, I don't disagree with you, and I feel like we had this conversation. I'm gonna have to go listen to the Spotlight series.
Well, it's because
again.
I'm stubborn and he's a lawyer, so when
Fire me, Tice.
yeah,
No,
I'll be fire.
The hard thing for what we're doing obviously is the safety component and like visibility, because
red light is tough.
yeah. Well, for hunting, absolutely. Like, I'll never forget one time I was walking out of the woods with a friend, and we both had our headlamps on, and I was talking to him at red lights, and we were
Green light.
talking.
Sorry.
And show's over.
Damn ADD.
And
Filters on
we're
low.
walking out, and I had tacked a spot out, to a stand, maybe another 200 yards into the woods. And as we're walking out, we pass the spot where the first tack is, right off the main trail. Keep going. And the guy asked me, he goes, "Hey, why did you put one here?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "I just saw one." I'm like, I did not tack one there. And we turn.
You're talking about the reflective tacks that you used to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we turn, we both turn to our left, and there are 8 eyeballs staring right back at us, maybe 3 feet off the trail, and whitetails go.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
And number 1, yeah, I'm still on the 5 things. 5 winter recreation
Hey,
for
that's what we're here
Expedition
for.
Detroit.
That's what we're here for.
Number 1 is just continuing to push into the unconventional outdoor opportunities that you can do in the winter. Winter backpacking, winter kayaking, winter even hunting into January. You know, all the things that people think, oh, it's not summer anymore. You don't do this. That's what we do.
It's a huge disconnect, and that's going to be really big, is to open people's eyes up to, like, you can still get outside.
Yes.
I actually think we get more sunshine in the winter, like the dead of winter, than we do in the fall. Because think about those days where we get dumped on a snowstorm, and then the day after we have a snowstorm, it's just like beautiful, sunny, and you can take in more of that sunlight.
Those bluebird days. Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And ironically, the coldest winter nights are when there's not a cloud in the sky.
Yeah,
I
there's
believe
nothing
it.
to insulate.
Exactly. So
I believe it.
There is nothing better than after a heavy snow dump when you get like 14 inches of snow, and then you get that clear night the next night.
Yeah.
You get all your snow duds on, Carhartts, jacket, whatever you wear, your Sitka Fanatic setup, and you go trudge out into the deep powdery snow, like midnight, no moon, nothing, and you just lay down in the snow and look up at the stars, dude. It's dead silent. Everything's muffled and insulated, and it's the calmest you will ever be. Just completely snuggled by the snow, looking at the stars, and it's just insane. It's a calm and a euphoric experience that nobody would even think to do. But if you get out there and do it, it's like, whew.
Yeah, winter is such an underutilized asset. That's really our ethos for Expedition Detroit. Like anything you can do in the summer, you add winter, like just that snow, that cold, that extra element to it, and it becomes like, oh, this is cool. This is badass. This is awesome.
100%.
And it cuts through the noise, the crap, that you see on social media, because most people are like, oh, it's cold, therefore I am not going to do it, and they immediately just discard that idea. So if you can break through that,
You're reinstilling that appreciation for it that has been lost.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it.
Yeah. So that's really what I'm looking forward to. And again, kind of what I hinted at earlier, we experienced a lot of growth in our first winter last year because we were getting out there consistently. We were still trail running. We were still hiking. We were, hunting. We didn't do any backpacking. That's something I want to do this year. Or you can do, and also just like year-long, episodic content posts. Like, I wrote an article last spring about like how to utilize the outdoors to build resiliency in your own life. Whether it's dealing with business, whether it's dealing with family, relationships, just becoming a tougher, person. And one of which the ideas was sleep outside at least one night every month of the year. And that's really where that becomes a challenge is in winter. And it's not only like to build the mental fortitude. There are also studies that show that sleeping outside when it's cold is really damn good for you.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah. Like, I don't know about you guys. Every time I've done, like an extended outdoor backpacking trip or whatnot, calorie exertion aside, I always lose weight. I always feel healthier. I always feel more connected with, just myself, because you align not only with the circadian rhythm with, the sun rising and setting, but just that cold air and what it does for your system.
There's no greater feeling than in like a sub-zero sleeping bag.
Yeah.
And you're all cocooned up and the only part of your body that feels a little chilly is just like your cheeks.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's nothing better.
Yeah.
I find when I do that, my dreams start getting really vivid.
Yeah.
Because like the blood flow starts like really flowing, brain and torso. And And when I sleep in the cold in the wintertime a lot, I'll open up my windows at night and I'll just throw as many blankets on top of me to stay warm, and then crash that way. And like, once again, you wake up in the morning, you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
You go down, you hit hard, and like you go into a deep REM sleep.
The only times that I've not slept well in the cold are when my air mattress just completely like had a hole in it or something. The coldest night I ever had, it was 5 degrees in Moab in Utah, in early March.
Ooh.
Air mattress didn't stay afloat. It's in the desert, so you're sleeping on
Rocks.
Yeah,
I'm
Brutal.
surprised you went with an air mattress over just like a foam pad.
I ended up buying one
Because
in,
I feel like the
in
foam
Mo.
pad, one, I mean, it might not be as comfortable, but I feel like that air in the mattress would make you colder.
Yeah. I actually have no idea. That actually might be true. Well, it all depends on the R rating, right?
Sure.
For
Yep.
the air mattress.
Yep.
I think some have enough insulation that won't affect. But if it's a like if it's a summer air pad and you're using it in the dead of winter, I think you're exactly right. But I ended up buying a foam pad mostly because I was just like, screw this. Like, I don't even want to leave it to
I want
chance.
to deal with it.
Yeah. But what's most infuriating about that is my buddy Eric, who I think I mentioned him the last time I was here too. He's one of my best friends. He's a badass outdoorsman as well. He sleeps like a baby on every backpacking trip, and while I'm sitting there, shivering all night long, he's snoring like immediately, and I wanted to strangle him like Smeagol in Lord of the Rings. Just jump on him. Yeah.
So how can people get involved? So as the snow starts to fly, as it starts getting colder, how can people get involved with Expedition Detroit, whether it's hiking, still snowshoeing, skiing?
Yeah.
What's a good place they can go?
I mean, as far as a hands-on experience, especially if you're new to, hiking and, snowshoeing and just recreating in off-season conditions, absolutely book a hike with us. I mean, or a snowshoe trek with us, or a headlamp, hike with us. I like to think our prices are pretty cheap.
Awesome.
And we're also very, I've had people cancel before because God knows what reason. And we're flexible because our goal is not to, of course, you're trying to build a sustainable business, but our goal is really to get people outside and to have an amazing time. And so that's number one. If someone's looking for that hands-on experience and they've just never felt comfortable doing it, please don't hesitate to reach out. We will, curate the experience for you and for whatever you're looking for in the outdoors. We've had people show up and they're like, you know what? I just want to hike. I want to treat this as a workout. We're like, awesome. Let's do it. Other
Here,
people,
carry this log.
Carry the log
and the boats.
I mean, kind of a testimonial too to what you guys do with the blog posts. Like even if you're a big DIY kind of person, and you're not a group, you just like to get out and do stuff, but you're not sure where to start. Go to their website. Go check out all the blog posts, because the amount of resources that you guys have on your website is awesome.
Yeah, I think we've written over 120 articles at this point.
It's incredible.
All related to the outdoor industry, and more specifically related to Detroit's outdoor recreation industry. That's kind of our, at nothing else, we're trying to create the go-to dispositive resource for the outdoors in Southeast Michigan.
It's awesome.
If you want that hands-on experience, we've got a tour for you. If you just want to learn, if you want to just figure out, as you're planning your New Year's resolutions and you want to get outside more, you want to learn more about the outdoors, you want to incorporate that into your life, into your kid's life, or whatever, click on our search bar and start typing something, and we probably have an article on it at this point. So
it's a great resource. Okay, so they want to get there. Where can they find you guys?
ExpeditionDetroit.com,
Awesome.
Instagram at Expedition Detroit. We're on LinkedIn and Facebook as well. Also, if you're looking for other experiences in the Detroit area, if you now go to visitdetroit.com, the main tourism agency, we're a featured partner of theirs. We're really their outdoor partner now, which I'm really, really excited because that's going to really kick into full gear in 2024.
I love it.
And I'll say this, 2024 will be the best year in Michigan's outdoor history to date on so many fronts.
We love to hear it.
Especially in Southeast Michigan or in Lower Michigan. there are so many opportunities kicking off. And what's amazing is really the NFL draft is like the impetus for all of this.
That is true. I forgot.
Yeah, it's coming in April.
Yep.
And because of that, the city and really the region as a whole are just balling out on opportunities. And because of the lessons learned during COVID, because of all the research showing that especially young workers want to be places where there are outdoor recreation opportunities, the city, I mean, everything from the federal government to the state, to the cities, to the municipalities are allocating more resources towards parks, recreation, the outdoors as a whole than they ever had. And so a lot of these initiatives are all coming to a head at the same time. The Gordie Howe Bridge, which I spoke to you guys about last time I was here, that's going to be opening in 2024. So you're going to have that massive trail connection between the U.S. and Canada that's going to link two of the largest trail networks that already exist in the world and really make them one, with Detroit being the link. So there's a lot coming to a head. This is going to be a phenomenal year. It's kind of the calm before the storm right now, in December, as a lot of people are going on holidays and whatnot. I mean, even for us at Expedition Detroit, we're kind of re-gearing and, refocusing the hit, January with our, boots on the ground and full steam ahead. So
I absolutely love it. Well, guys, check them out. They're doing really, really good things. Even if you're not in the Metro Detroit area, still use them as a resource, because no matter where you live, whether you live in northern Michigan, southern Michigan, whether you're in Indiana, Ohio, there are places that you can get outside. So the premise is get outside.
Our third largest demographic after Michigan and Canada is Colorado.
That's awesome.
Yeah, which I'm really proud of.
Let's start. We'll start poaching people. Get them back.
Dude,
get them back.
When I was in Denver a few weeks ago, I gave my buddy a bunch of Expedition Detroit stickers. I was like, "Go wild!"
Put them all over the place. QR codes. We're all about it, dude. Thanks for coming back. This was awesome. We had so much fun, guys. Thanks again for tuning in to the Ataso Outdoors podcast. As I always say, we grow organically. We don't have sponsors or advertisements. So the best way we can grow is by you sharing the show. So if you learned something, if you enjoyed your time, share the show with a friend, or at best, subscribe and hit the notification button. We're live on YouTube for all these full videos, and then Instagram and shorts for little snippets of it. Ataso.outfitters is our Instagram, and then AtasoOutfitters.com is the website where we have all of our fire merch.
Check it out.
Coming at you from the PodBunker. Have a great night.
I feel like we just got started.
Well, I do have to admit, the whole night I had to refrain. I keep wanting to refer to it as ED just as an abbreviation, and I've had to refrain from that because
my doctor buddies love that. They hate it. Well, they love it. I hate
Dan ED Cooke. And I'm not Bombshell. It's time to end. Have a great night, guys.